everyone. Today we have special guest.
Hello, I'm Nick.
Nick.
We're eNVy Board Gaming.
eNVy Board Gaming. We've partnered with them a few times remotely, and now we are in person at the play some games together, get a tour of the game ball.
Yep. So I think we've had a lot of fun today, but one of the activities that we were going to do is top 10 unique themed games this go around. So
I've been corrected. I have to point out by our friend Dodd, most unique is not an appropriate grammatical term. It's could be considered most odd or oddest or most uncommon, but yeah, you cannot be most unique because unique is a binary. So he is a lawyer, by the way.
Yep.
I can see that. Yeah.
We'll stick with it though.
Yeah. So forget you, Dodd. It's most unique.
There it is.
So before we go into number 10, how did you guys determine your kind of list? What did you go through?
Okay, so for theme, for this one, we had a list we narrowed down to 17 of them that we came up with real quick. Mm-hmm. And then from that, we just did our top 10. So every time we do this, we write down the 17, we each get the sheet, and we rank it 1 through 17. Mm-hmm. The higher number is going to fall off the list. The lowest numbers are going to climb on higher to the list. So every top 10 we do, we just do that.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
So we actually kind of did the same thing. So each of us generated a list of the things that we just automatically came up with. We sent it, we compiled the list, and then we ranked them. And then whatever had the least amount was the winner.
Well, yeah, but I also went through a painstaking going through every game in my inventory downstairs, trying to find games to put on this list. So my list is not only ones that are most unique, but they're ones in our collection that are most unique.
Have you played them necessarily?
Not necessarily. Not all of them.
Yeah, same here. There might be, I think, maybe 2 on our list that we haven't played, maybe 3.
Yeah. Now, there are some that I'm like, when we bring this up, I definitely want to play, and you may see them very shortly because of that.
Yeah.
So let's dig into it.
No, before that, we have a tradition where we place a wager on
crossovers.
That's true.
Which ones are going to cross over on our list. So,
how many?
Take a quick peek.
So for unique themes, I'm going to say we have, I want to think 1.
Yeah, I would say 1 or 2.
I think maybe 2.
Yeah, I could see 2.
I'll say 1, and Vik will say 2. What about you?
what are y'all thinking? I think this one's going to be a tough one. I'm thinking 1 at best.
I'm thinking maybe 1.
I'm gonna say 0.
We're going to go 0. Okay.
I can't go to 3.
No, that's way too high.
That's way too high. So I'll be something different. So I might actually win.
Yes.
All right. So let's go with number 10. What you guys get for number 10?
All right, for 10, we have a game that I ranked it 8 and Nick gave it a 12, and it is Rococo.
Right there.
It's right up on your shelf. I noticed it right away when we came over here, but the game is a Euro. It's a deck building game where you're also like going and you're planning a ball at the same time. And I thought, in Louis the 15th era, like it's a total, it's a total surprise in terms of the theme. And you don't really think of that often. Like there's fashion games out there, but a game where you're also planning a ball and then you're going to be judged on the costumes that you ultimately rent out. And I just think that's really unique.
Yep.
Yeah. Number 10 for you.
All right, Miranda, you got
They
10.
reviewed that, by the way. So
Yes.
if you're interested in Rococo, they actually covered that.
Yeah.
So number 10 is Vast. Now I'm gonna caveat Vast is I don't actually like the game, but the theme is very, very unique. The fact is most of the time when you play Dungeon Delvers, it's always you're the hero trying to defeat the dungeon. That is not the case with Vast.
Well, it is for one of the characters.
For one of the characters, but not
You
all
get to
of
play
them.
as a cave. How much more time to get that?
Being a cave.
Yeah. Well, but
Okay.
here's what's funny though is because I'm really big into the RPG, especially the lit RPG. Like now that game developed, and I don't know if it was side by side or the same thing, but the culture has gone to where the dungeons are now more of an interesting story point. So I don't know if it was cause and effect or what, but I do. So I do want to call it out for unique themes, even though I don't like the game. It's still really good. So.
That one isn't that one that the guy from Root did it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
That
it's
was
three
the first
games.
thing, I believe.
Yeah.
So difficult to teach because
Yeah, I remember when it came out at Gen Con, and
It
it
was
was
super
it
hot.
flew in under the radar. Nobody expected it, and it sold out like hotcakes.
Really?
Super
Yeah,
fast.
people were just burning it off the shelf. It was crazy.
Mhm. I mean, the theme is very, very, very unique, and I was very excited to play it. I was just also disappointed after I played it.
It's such an odd
Yeah.
game.
It was definitely not our type of game.
Yeah.
Well, and it may just be because every person is a different character and you have different rules.
Well, I
Mine
mean, it's
didn't
one of the
suit
first
me.
games that I know of that was truly asynchronous. Everything is different for everybody.
Mhm.
And, some people weren't used to that yet. And so it was a little different.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it may be interesting to go back and replay to see if that's
It's still
changing
pretty-
or if
yes.
I played a different
It's still a
character.
pretty loved game.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but again,
Yep.
it is very unique. So I had to give it credit where credit was due on this
And
one.
their new one is Oath, and that one's
Yeah.
like super popular
Yeah,
right
it's
now. I mean,
definitely
all of them have been. Everything they've released has been
Yeah.
super popular.
Yeah.
All right, number 9.
Number 9 for us is unique through and through. And when you put it on a table, it just looks like something you've never seen before. It is straight. It's a cube pusher. When you look at it, this isn't a cube pusher at all. It's Vindication. Vindication, you're a scumbag. You're trying to redeem yourself. You got
Yeah.
washed ashore and discovered by somebody, and now you're just on this island trying to redeem yourself. It is a very unique game. It's crazy when you're playing it, looking at it. And there's minis that are completely useless. I don't even know what they're there for. I've never used them ever. They just sit in a box like, those are cool, but useless. Everything on the board though looks nice, colorful. It's a dark colorful, like it pops, but it's like a darkness. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Grim.
Yeah, it's something. And you're adventuring around. You're revealing different tiles, which isn't that unique, but just the look of it, the play of it, the theme of it. Vindication popped in my head right away, and it got our number 9. Our rankings on that, I put it at 9, and Vic put it at 10. So if I'm reading it, that means I ranked it slightly higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Rob can relate to the theme because he's a scumbag.
That's true. And
Shots fired.
actually, I kickstarted the game, and I loved the view. I thought it was a beautiful game.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just didn't care for it.
No.
I didn't think it was that great of a game,
Hmm.
but it was certainly interesting.
Definitely.
Very unique.
So
I don't have number 9.
Yes, you do.
No, I have 6, 7, and 8.
No,
no,
you
no.
definitely
You
have
are number 9.
Let's see here. So that's all right. Well, I mistake. So unfair. Unfair is number 9. It's 7.3 from Board Game Geek. Came out in 2017. It's a pretty unique card drafting, hand management game. The part that I really like about it that makes it pretty unique is the artwork. It's kind of tongue in cheek, kind of really beautiful artwork. It's got a neat sense of humor. So I like Unfair quite a bit. And a little bit of take that to it.
A
So,
lot of take
well,
that.
a little bit of take that to it. So it's unfair. Good game. So that was our number 9.
Mr. Covington, I think. Same
Yeah.
one with the title blades and
Yeah.
fun fair.
See, I think with the unfair, what I liked about it is it's like, okay, it's a festival, it's a fair, but it was negative.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like it was just like a little print, it's like, wait a second, this is all not smiles and laughter,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think that's the part that makes it pretty unique for me is just the feel that it gives you. You're like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
doing all these smiling. No, wait a second.
Oh, your ride broke down and people died on it.
I could appreciate that. I have a bit of a sense of humor that way. That'd be fun. I don't know though. Take that or a little painful.
That's why we have fun
It's-
We
fair.
have fun
brutal.
fair.
There's a nice
Yeah.
friendly version.
Yeah, we went with the fun fair.
The day that we're recording this, we actually uploaded fun fair
Yeah, we
review.
did. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So yeah, I guess that's
8.
Number 8.
Number 8. Number 8 for us, we had an experience kind of playing this randomly late at night on the Dice Tower cruise with a couple of new friends we made, Brian and Kim. And we busted it out. I don't even know who picked this one or why, but it was Age of Dirt. And I don't know if you've played Age of
No,
Dirt.
no.
It is such a quirky, weird game.
Is Joe in it?
It's a Neanderthal game. It's a
Okay.
caveman game, but it's kind of like they're not very intelligent, your meeples that you're sending out in this game. So the whole theme about it is just you don't always get what you thought was going to happen, and there's a lot of there's actually this like drum component that you have to knock this tower. It's called the Passage. So before you can actually set out to collect a resource or do something, you put the meeples into this tower, and you don't know if they're going to come out. And then sometimes a predator will come out instead, and
Okay.
there's a really quirky love tent, and we were just dying of laughter because that's how you can get more meeples. And it's really quirky because
love
you
good
can
love
end up...
Definitely.
It's hilarious.
It's very hilarious.
Yeah, a really funny game. The Love 10 has this really odd mechanism where you can end up like giving someone else a meeple because you mated with a different tribe. It's so chaotic. and
That sounds cool.
That's like the naughty version of Stone Age.
It is. A lot of references to
Yeah,
that.
it was. It's a lot of fun. You're trying to invent things, and these poor Neanderthals just don't have the wit.
It's funny because you're not trying to get the love tent. You're trying, I need those stone. I'll put them in. They don't come out. And then they come out later in the love tent. Like, what the heck?
They just show up in different places,
What are
and
you
it's
doing,
so
Hank?
funny. Yeah. For that one, I gave it a 4, and you gave it an 11 in your rankings of it. Yeah, so that was our rank for that one. 8.
All right. Well, our number 8. I know we both played this one. It's on both of our channels, so it's possibly on both of our lists. And this one, I mean, when we played it, it was such a unique story behind it. I had to research it online. So, this is Praga Kaput Regni. Because, I mean, anything where you're finding out that you build bridges out of eggs. I mean, and there was an obsession with the eggs. I mean, they created wood eggs, and there was a big feature in the rule book about the history of the bridge, and obviously whoever made that game had a love of Prague, and they just put everything into the story behind the game, and the game was super confusing, super hard to learn, but it was worth it.
But once we got it, it was a great game.
It was a great game, but I guarantee you, it'll be super hard to learn again next time we play it, because we haven't got to the
But we know a lot about the bridge now.
Yeah, but we do know about that bridge being made out of eggs, because it's such a unique theme.
Egg bridge.
Yes.
That's definitely one. All right, our number 7. Our number 7 has a theme that incorporates classic tropes in Euro games like rails and you're building farms and all kinds of, building ports. Can't think of everything else. I just know farming is a big thing. And then the dark ones, the old ones, the Cthulhu's and all that. It's Australia. So it's really weird theme. You think it's Euro through and through. Huh?
Martin Wallace.
Yeah. It's Martin Wallace's Australia. He just came out with a Kickstarter of it and had expansions for it. Which we did back, and it's a semi-co-op, so that might not be everyone's cup of tea, but this one definitely unique. I mean, you don't expect it. It doesn't make sense that you're building railways and farms, and then Cthulhu's showing up in this 1930s thing going on. I don't get it, but that's the theme.
I've always wanted to play it. I've not played it yet, but it sounds like an interesting game.
Definitely interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our number 7 is photosynthesis. So. I think we all ranked it fairly high. Photosynthesis is a beautiful game. It's got awesome little cardboard trees. It's ranked pretty well on Board Game Geek at 7.1, came out in 2017. But it's got some action point selection, area control, where you just build a forest. And the sun moves around the board, and whoever's trees catch the most light gets the most points.
I think this is one of the first games that was based on something that was so bland of a topic as far as just watching trees grow.
It's watching trees grow, but it's such an interesting game.
Yeah.
It's got some interesting actions and it's just really cool. And when your tree's scoring, it's like awesome, and then someone builds something and grows in such a way it blocks you. You're like, it's frustrating. And it's a wonderful game.
Yeah, and I think the thing is you kind of mentioned this. This is one of the first ones that really started doing nature theme. Like this one, because then you ended up with a bunch of different tree games right after that one. But this started that trend, and I think that's why I'm putting it there. And plus, even though there's several other tree games, none of those have brought their presence like photosynthesis has. Yeah. Just board presence, and so I felt like I know that's one of the reasons why I ranked it high. I'm like, now there's a lot of tree games, but that was the first, and it still holds a presence.
3-dimensional trees.
It's
pretty. It's
pretty.
Very pretty.
Yeah, the tree theme. It reminds me of Tan Garden in that the trees remind me of it, but again, those scale different, and it's all about trees. So it's sunlight. All right, number 6 for us is a very strange game, as with this list would entail. These are all going to be probably pretty strange games, really. Nectophobia is a game where one player plays blind. Actually, all players play blind, and the other ones are the hunted. Like they're hunting them. I haven't played this one. This one is on the list. This is one I haven't played. It's a weird concept. You're playing with these blackout glasses, and you're trying to manipulate through blindly as this other person's trying to set up traps and kill you. It's I don't know. It just it's
So that's actually our number 11.
That's
so
our
that
number 11.
just
It
got.
It fell off the list, but we actually could remedy it because we actually have it, so we could play that.
It's actually right up there. As a matter of fact.
wow.
Yeah, I put it on the list. Anybody else nominate it?
No, I think you were the one that nominated it. It just didn't. It just barely made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was 11. Like it was like right there.
For our rankings, I had number 5, Vic had number 7, and for Australia, I didn't mention it. That was my number 2. Australia was number 12, Vic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our number 6 is Lemming Mafia. This is one of those odd games. So Lemming Mafia came out in 2009. Board Game Geek rating not as high. It's a 6.2. But if you've never played, it's got these amazing lemming minis. I mean, they're super cool looking. And so I think
trench coats.
In trench coats. I think that's the probably the best part of the game is the minis because it's basically a race game.
Yeah, it's basically camel up, except for you're watching the lemmings die.
Right, and they're jumping into the ocean, and so you got this track, and then if they jump in the ocean, and
you're placing bets on them to see which one will die first.
Right.
Huh. This one doesn't seem like a very popular game.
It's
This is perfect for us. For our
but it's got beautiful. The lemmings is beautiful. The board itself is just kind of meh. But the minis themselves are fantastic. So Lemming Mafia.
Yeah, you will notice as we go through, the ones that I at least picked or voted for highly are all very dark themes.
Well, that was our number 6, Lemming Mafia.
This fits right with her. Go ahead, Vic.
All right, so our number 5 is a really, really strange game. It's Mongolian Goat Rodeo.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, in this game, there's only one goat, and everyone's trying to grab this goat, and you're going to be able to score with this goat by bringing it around your goalpost. But to capture the goat, you have to give a story of how you came about getting that goat or how you acquired the goat. And then other players will have to judge that story, and then there's a dice that you get to roll, a 9-sided, I believe, dice. And it's just really chaotic. People are just going for goats.
Goat soccer.
Yeah.
I got the goat.
Something else. So
That's awesome.
I gave
So
it for our scores. I gave it a 3, and Nick gave it a 9.
Yeah, don't play that game.
Unless you really want a really unique game.
Yeah, unless you want something, a bad game that's very unique.
Number 5.
Our number 5, again, I told you it was going to be a dark themes.
Yeah.
So this one is Last Will. So this is basically Brewster's Millions, the game. So the idea is you've inherited a ton of money from your father who's passing, but you have to spend it all. You have to go broke.
So cool.
So you basically are going out and blowing it. What's really unique about this game is they had a follow-up, the Prodigals Club, which actually, if you combine the two, you can make this Uber game where you go broke, which is really cool. So basically, the two can be played together. We've never done that, or really going to do that. But yeah, the two can be combined, and it basically plays out as a mini game for the other. So yeah,
That's cool. I didn't know that.
yeah. So there's the theme itself is unique, but the fact that you can combine it with another game and play it together makes it even
That's
more.
cool. Have you played Prodigals Club as well?
I have not played
Okay,
Prodigals Club. I
understood.
haven't, but I've never been able to play it by itself or do the combined.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Vic, I believe that one's you.
All right, so our number 4 is a game that is a little, I guess, taboo of a topic. Like some might think it's a little strange of a theme, but it's viral. The game is about attacking organs in a body, trying to make somebody sick, cause a crisis in an organ, and it's an majority area control kind of game. But you're also, playing cards, and it's got an interesting deck mechanism to it.
Yeah.
So.
And if you feel bad, then scientists are trying to rectify the situation.
Yeah, at
They're
the
trying to
same
figure out
time,
the
yeah,
viruses as well.
exactly.
There's a new expansion coming out for it too.
Oh yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Vic really likes this.
I
like it a lot, too.
really enjoy the game. So
I want to play it, but they won't play it with
It's
you.
really fun. We played it at Gen Con the first year it came out.
Yeah, I know. I cornered you.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's right down there.
yeah, I saw it over there. And everybody gets to play as a different virus as well, so that's another kind of fun thing about it is you get to attack the other viruses in it.
So Randy can be syphilis.
I think I already am.
Wait a second.
There's something you should know.
And I I gave this number 1 for my theme,
Oh, wow.
and then Nick's did 8.
Okay.
And I thought, it was very
Interesting.
thematic.
So number 4 for us, this was my number 1, and I still think it should have been number 1, but well, I couldn't get them to buy into it.
Whatever.
But this is the history behind this one is so unique because first of all, it is about history. So the game is Kolejka, and if you haven't heard of it, this is a game that's very hard to find. It's only written in Polish, and it is basically Kolejka is the Polish term for queue. So it's all about standing in line to get your food, and it's set in the theme of basically the Russians taking over their country and putting them into a poverty situation. So you get in a line and you have to move up the queue and to the point, and you never know what resources are going to be there when you get to the end of the line.
Yeah, so there's different resources, like you get in the food line, the fuel line, or whatever. But then if too many people go to the food line, there may not be enough food, so only the 2 people first get served. And so like you have to decide, all right, am I going to try to go for food, but I could starve, or am I going to try to go for...
Wow, that's tricky.
Yeah, so that's...
Very Soviet.
And supposedly the history or rumblings of it is that it was banned in Russia. But then, I've heard both ways. I heard that was kind of a wives' tale, that it really wasn't banned in Russia.
Yeah, it might not be popular enough to ban it.
Yeah, I don't think
If it got popular, it probably banned.
Yeah, it's definitely anti-Soviet takeover.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
All right. Our number 3, I thought might be a crossover, but now I'm starting to doubt it. It is Vic's number 5 and my number 3. It's a game about stacking humans. It's Castel. So if you're familiar, I believe that is a city in Spain that does a Catalona.
Yeah.
Catalona. They stack it's human pyramids essentially. You're usually in real life where this happens is between 8 and 10 people stacked up in a tower of people. Anyway, that's the theme, so that's pretty unique. This was, I think, the first one that came to my head. Like, yeah, Castel's on this list for us because what other game does this? I don't know why you even thought of this. You have to you have to grow up there, I guess, to even think to make a board game about it, or just pass through and see like this crazy event. Like, okay, I can make a game out of this somehow.
Yeah, when I first heard of it, I thought that it's a dexterity game. I thought you were actually stacking
like
people
people's
anytime I heard of it, and then you showed me like,
Nope.
It's just about the stacking.
They're
of
just
people.
weird people. There's a husky person on the bottom, and then they get skinnier as they get. I don't know. It's a good game. People really like it, so I'm not poo-pooing on it like Mongolian thing. But this one is actually people enjoy this one, so it's solid.
But you don't have goats in it.
No,
No goats.
it's lacking goats. So
All right,
So,
number 3.
Number 3. This was my number 2. So I got most of my top 2 in the top 10 list, so I was pretty happy. And this one is The Bloody Inn. And this one is unique because the theme is so dark. You have a hotel you're running, and your goal is to murder your clientele and bury them in the crawl spaces beneath your hotel. That's purely what you do. It is a card game of dark, just try to lure in people. You try to bribe people to be your accomplices.
Well, you can bribe sheriffs, right?
You can bribe the sheriffs, to help kill people for you, but you don't want to be caught with bodies on you when the sheriff is in town in the hotel, unless you've got them now pulled into your accomplices. But yeah, it is a very dark, very gritty theme, and I love it.
you love the game?
I love it. The game's a lot of fun.
The game
I
is
haven't played the
actually really
expansion yet. We've had the expansion forever, and I've never got it out yet. So one of these days we're going to play that.
All right, what's number 2 for you guys?
All right, this was my number 1. Vic's number 6. It is a game called The Bloody Inn. There you go. Done. You kill people, the police come by, you're hiding bodies.
That's our first crossover.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
It's our first official one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There'll be a second one though.
Go ahead.
And you gave our scores for it, yeah?
Yeah, I
6
did.
and 1.
Yeah.
6 and 1.
But the next one is our second
So
crossover.
number 2 for us is Rococo.
Oh.
Okay, so I like you said from previous is the
Yeah.
fact that you're preparing for a ball and you're making dresses and I just love the theme.
It's a beautiful game.
It's a
So much-
beautiful
and it's fun.
game. And it is fun and it is very unique. You're trying to, dress people for the actual ball and so I love it. So
It's also our biggest viewed or most viewed.
not for long, I don't
review.
think.
I it could. I mean, it's held its own for the longest time. It was one of our earliest reviews, and we screwed up on teaching
I
it.
Don't you hate that? When it's not
I
the best
know.
video?
It was,
that made my worst.
It was the expansion piece that was added in. There wasn't really good instructions about it, and we thought you had to put all the different countries in, and you were only supposed to pick one. And that was my biggest grievance.
And
with
we
the
got
game.
called out on it.
Yeah, we got
Yeah,
called
you
out on
always
it
do.
several
I
times.
do too.
Which we appreciate because now
Yeah.
I'm like,
Now we know what we did wrong. We won't do it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
So, what's your guys' number one?
Number one for us. So this theme, it is present in a lot of games. It seems to come up as a theme I never even heard about till I got into the hobby. I never even knew what this was. But Steampunk Rally is our number one because of the fact that you're doing a race and you have these inventor characters. You are trying to rearrange your machine that you're racing in the Alps, and you can cause damage to other players. You can have damage done to your machine, your invention, and you're just trying to win the race. And I think that that's a really cool way to get into this steampunk.
It's interesting because Amelia Earhart's racing Nikola Tesla or some inventor in the Swiss Alps, and like, doesn't make any sense.
The theme,
Doesn't make any sense.
The theme doesn't make any sense
What
at
was
all.
our
But
ranking? This
yes.
was Nick's number 2.
I did 2, and Nick said 4 for this.
I'm
theme.
surprised this one came out as number 1, but we both agreed that this one was really
Yeah.
weak. Just the picture that is dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
So our number one actually is very unique. It's Ladies and Gentlemen. So this one, it is my favorite, one of my favorites, definitely my top 10. But the thing about this is that there's 2 games going on simultaneously. There's the guys, you don't have to be a guy, you just got to play that, and they make the money. And then you have the other side, which are the girls, and they spend the money. But the piece of it is you also have a courtesan mechanism. So if you have an odd number of players, they play on the girl side, and they're getting money from all the different husbands. And they're trying to be the best dressed at the ball.
And I played the courtesan, and it was a lot of fun.
So it's one of the ones I love to actually get out around Valentine's Day and a lot when you have like couples nights and things like that, because very few games that you get to actually work with your spouse and actually try to win against other couples. And so that's one thing I absolutely love about this game. And it is so unique. And it's our number one.
Putting that on our list, but we had not played it, and I wasn't sure.
It's quite
I will
funny.
totally be willing to play it.
So speaking of thought abouts, we always like to talk about honorable mentions.
Wants to go? All right, we wrote down a few here. Let's see what we got. Honorable mentions. Let's see, I wrote 3 down. Dungeon Pets was 1. You know, you're running a pet store. Okay. Ether Fields, Playing in Dreams.
I want to play that so bad.
And Black Orchestra, The Plot to Kill Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have a few. I know, obviously, we talked about Nyctophobia was our runner-up as far as it was the next one down on the list.
So the one I really wanted to call out was City of the Big Shoulder. So it is an economic game. There is stocks, but the thing about it is the feels for this theme is so heavy. Like you really do feel like you're building a company, and it's very few that an economic game can have the theme draw you in. Because I think a lot of times economic games can be a little dry and you don't really get the theme. That one, and so because it wasn't necessarily unique, but the feel of it was unique for me. And
Well,
so
you've
that's
also
why.
got actual companies,
Yeah.
and the history of the companies is
Oh,
on each
and that's very
player board.
immersive. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, Oscar Mayer, Brunswick, these
Yeah,
are big
Sears?
names company.
Yes,
Chicago.
Sears and Roebuck.
Yeah, I think, Sears
Sears.
Roebuck.
Yeah, so literally you're playing Oscar Mayer and you're trying to get meat into your factory and
Yeah.
you're trying to produce it. And then and the thing is it's also during the time of the Depression. So all of a sudden your prices start dropping out, right? And you're still trying to make money. And so, you know, how do you get your factories running, and there's a loss of workers, and then do you automate? And so all this stuff is really interesting and it really draws you in, and so that's why
And I always lose because I'm always obsessed with making my company successful when it's all about buying stock, you know.
Yeah,
And
see-
you know, I get hung up. I've got to make my company successful.
Yeah, what's funny is the game is when we talked to the designer, he actually specifically said this is a stock game. But when we play it, we never put the stuffies. We sheerly focus on the company.
Just on the company.
Just because it's so immersive.
Yeah, it looks so good. It's hard to find though. I wanted to play it, buy it. It's not for sale. Like I'm sure you can buy it in the secondary market, but it's not like stores. Or something.
Yeah. So.
I'm surprised we didn't put Galaxy Trucker as an on.
I thought that was
Yeah,
really
it's
good.
good.
very tempted, but the thing is, I tried to rule out sci-fi because there's so many sci-fi themed
I
ones.
know, but
The-
still,
the
how you
mechanics of
play
that,
it
if it
is
was
so
a-
unique.
Well, if this was a mechanics game or list, I would have definitely had it on the
That's
list.
true.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess.
that's the next one I want to do
Feels a
is
little
the
bit
unique
internet that's
mechanics.
destroying as you go.
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff, but
So, did you have anyone to call out personally?
No, not really.
Okay, well, I had a couple. There's basically to continue with my dark theme, the downfall of Pompeii.
okay. Yeah.
That one is the one just because of the whole concept of when your people get caught, you throw them into the volcano to sacrifice them.
Yeah.
It is such a dark idea. I mean, they're just little wooden figures, but still, you're
It's-
sacrificing them into a volcano.
Yeah, it's dark, but hopefully, whatever 700 BC isn't too soon. Too soon?
Another one is Set a Watch. And this is because it is like the most boring aspect of a dungeon delve that you could think of. Like, you've got all kinds of aspects of dungeon delves that have been done a billion times. And I almost was like, no, I'm not going to put any dungeon delves on here. We ended up with 2 because we had Vast and Set a Watch because it's all about literally the guy who's going to be watching while you're sleeping and what happens while you're being attacked while you're sleeping, which nobody cares about. It's like, you're going to have to do that tonight. And the last one I have is Fantastica, just because this is like a hallucination. Basically, the whole game is, you've got these modern, I wouldn't say modern, but it's Victorian era pictures and your characters in this Victorian era, but then they're fighting monsters with plungers and brooms and buckets. So it's very bizarre. It's almost like the aftermath of the Euphoria game after they've been smoking that green cloud.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you got to hear our top 10, and we had a blast tonight, and hopefully you guys did too. I hope you guys join us, and also check Nick and Vik out on their channel. There'll be a link down below, so you guys can head on over there.
Let us know what you thought about
Yeah,
it.
what are
So
you,
we
what
can
are
hear
your
what you think
most
about it.
uncommon or oddest or most unique
And-
Dodd?
And let us know if you thought I was right and they were wrong. That's fine. If you want to do it that way too, so.
You're wrong.
I know.
Well, thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.